Starting an Airbnb co-hosting business is probably the best way to get into the short-term rental industry without having to own any property. And not only can you start it without any property, but you can also start it without any money personally invested yourself. Lots of hosts who have made huge money on Airbnb got started co-hosting their first properties. Even my first property on Airbnb was a co-hosted property, so you don't even need to have experience to be able to get into the space. Many people have grown successful Airbnb businesses after just getting one co-hosting property after another, and then eventually getting to 6 figures a year on Airbnb without having to own, again, any property.
Well, come on, tell me more.
So what exactly is Airbnb co-hosting? If you don't already know, co-hosting is when you help another homeowner or the primary host of an Airbnb property with routine operations of their business. Your goal is to let the primary host sit back and relax so that way you can do all of the operations. In exchange for them stepping back and not having to do anything in the business, you are able to take a percentage of the revenue for managing their property for them. So essentially, you're doing all the day-to-day tasks for them. The difference between co-hosting and full-on property management is that co-hosts don't usually get involved in the financial or legal aspects of the business. Those include handling insurance-related claims, paying tax obligations, and viewing payout transaction details. Now, let me make a disclaimer that this is not legal advice, but in many states where they do require you to have a real estate license in order to manage properties, co-hosting can circumvent that if you are handling things that are not related to the financials of the business. So you can kind of think of yourself as a virtual assistant for a homeowner when you are a co-host. I do recommend speaking with an attorney, though, if you are in a state that is maybe a little bit more restrictive and you want to cover all your bases.
You don't need a lawyer, only guilty people need lawyers, and boom!
But the good thing about starting a co-hosting business is that you can start making money right away or as soon as you get your first paycheck directly from Airbnb. And this is unlike if you go into rental arbitrage, turnkey investing, or buying, rehabbing, renting, refinancing, and repeating, or the BRRRR method. With these other strategies, you typically have to wait a little while before you can start profiting from your work. Because with those strategies, and depending on the type of property you're hosting, its occupancy levels, and the supply and demand in your area, it could be anywhere from several years before you even recoup your initial capital and start enjoying the profits. So with co-hosting, not only can you get a quick return because you're putting in sweat equity, but it's also a lot more scalable. Once you learn the ropes of managing the daily operations of one property smoothly, it's easy to co-host another one, and then another, and then another, until you eventually find a number that's manageable for you to be able to leave your primary job and just be able to do co-hosting full time. That's actually how many of our students like Angel got started in this business. They had no experience with co-hosting when they first got started in Airbnb, and then they started taking on clients. She started generating enough income where she could start getting into rental arbitrage, and then once she got into rental arbitrage and co-hosting, she's now actually buying properties and has actually purchased a whole portfolio from somebody else's business. And Angel's not the only one. We literally have dozens of students who've been able to scale their business through co-hosting. Once you've scaled up enough properties, you should be able to run things all by yourself or with the help of other contractors who cover the odds and ends of your business.
I'm an independent businessman. Emphasis on independent.
So you might be asking yourself, how do I start a co-hosting business? Number 1, knowledge. First of all, the very least thing that you can do is accumulate knowledge of how the short-term rental business works. Because why would anyone let you into their business if you don't know anything about running it yourself? Am I right?
You are so right. You are so right.
So learn the fundamental processes in this business, which include managing a booking calendar, communicating with guests, overseeing cleaning and turnovers, handling the dynamic pricing of the property, and the list goes on. Of course, you won't need to do all of these things yourself, and many of the primary hosts who run several properties delegate some of the tasks or employ local contractors to do them. So if you co-host, you'll likely be asked to oversee them, or you might have to hire other people to do these jobs for the owners. But the important thing is that you know the ins and outs of those procedures, and you also need to be aware of the common or potential problems and then familiarize yourself with them so that way you can resolve them or just completely avoid them in the first place. There's tons of material out there to be able to help you learn things like blog posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, online courses, coaching programs. Literally, this whole channel and our business is around coaching and educating, so definitely subscribe if you haven't already.
$40 will make you a subscriber. How about it?
That's what the other 8 subscribers pay.
Tell you the truth, I get it for nothing.
Number 2, formalize your business. You can also decide to register your business by forming an LLC or a limited liability company, which costs typically around $200 depending on the state that you register it in. You can do this later once you decide to do co-hosting full-time, or you can do it as soon as you start marketing your services. It is important to prepare a credibility packet, which is where you have business cards, flyers printed out, something to leave behind for potential clients to reach you. Things like a website can help boost your credibility as well. It's also a good idea to include a detailed list of the different services that you're going to be offering. You can do a tiered pricing structure where you only do a certain amount for, let's say, just messaging guests, or you can do a higher percentage if you want to be able to handle things like turnovers and reordering amenities for the property.
Is it the most expensive?
I believe it is.
Then we take it.
Number 3, look for clients. So once you know the basics of short-term renting, it's time to actually look for clients. And there are so many ways to be able to do that. First, what I'd recommend you do is just open up your phone and just go through the contacts and find people that are in real estate, or maybe you know somebody that wants to get into real estate. Co-hosting is all about turning your network into your net worth. So you need to be able to go out there and talk to people. If you don't like talking to people, then this is probably not going to be a good business for you. I personally found after scaling our property management company to over 60 properties that this business is not very salesy because the properties basically sell themselves. If you're able to show them how much money they're able to make, and if you're able to show that you have credibility or that you're willing to put in the work, many people are willing to trust you at least for a short period to see how things go. And if you're able to live up to the expectation, then you are able to continue working with them for an extended period. Strategies for growing a co-hosting business are the same as building any business. You need to know what you're going to be offering and who you're going to be targeting. You need to have a technology stack that can allow you to be able to scale things like websites, a CRM, a calendar, forms, all of these things that you need essential for your business. And then you need to start prospecting, which is reaching out to people or having people reach out to you. So for example, this podcast has been a great way for us to be able to grow our property management business because we've been creating content talking about Airbnb. People have just naturally reached out to us. We've also been creating blog posts. So when people go on Google and they look for us, they're able to see our blog posts at the top of search. If you have experience with running Facebook ads, or if you join Facebook groups, there's so many ways that you can go and grow a co-hosting business. And if you want more information about that, just leave a comment down below and I can go into more detail about different strategies that you can use for growing your co-hosting business because I've got quite a lot of experience with online marketing.
He comments on his own comments.
Many hosts, no matter how long they've been renting on Airbnb, still have pain points here and there, and some of their properties may not be making enough money. Maybe they're tired of dealing with guest complaints, or maybe they're just overwhelmed by the stress of managing calendars and scheduling turnovers. So finding people who are distressed and just tired is a great way to be able to build your business. And one way that I've personally found this to be successful is in many Facebook groups as well. Once you know their problems and you can think of solutions, then you can craft a proposal that will help them solve those specific problems. That way they can hire you as a co-host. Knowing the type of property they own, the market they're in, and the types of guests that they're trying to attract will help a lot in this discovery process as well. And listen, you don't have to just cater to short-term rental property owners either. There's long-term landlords who want to shift into the short-term rental market, but just don't know how to. And you as the co-host can be the perfect person to set up their property and manage it for them. There's also a lot of people who own second homes and investment properties that are thinking of leasing out their space on Airbnb too. Those are certainly people that you can help, and probably some of the best because they are real estate investors. So drive around your neighborhood or go to sites like the MLS, Trulia, Zillow, find condos and apartments for rent, go to networking events with other real estate owners, call the owners, chat with landlords. Again, this is all networking, and you need to be able to see if people need help getting their spaces rented or if they want to be able to make more money from their properties. You can also go on real estate forums like Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets is a community of real estate investors and it probably has one of the largest networks of them. You know, many of the people on Bigger Pockets like to invest in real estate but aren't keen on managing the properties themselves, so you can market yourself there as well. Some of them may be looking for help hosting their properties. Again, I'd recommend checking out Facebook and looking up Airbnb and whatever the city that you're located in or you want to be able to host in, and then find people in these groups who are posting and engage in these groups. You need to be able to provide value, answer questions, and whenever you find somebody that is looking for a co-host, you can reach out to that person. Here's an expert hack. You can actually create your own Facebook group, and Facebook will recommend that group to people that are interested in, let's say, Airbnb Houston, for example. And then when you create that group, you can create these things called triggers. So if somebody says help or looking for co-host or looking for help, then you can get notified and you can reach out to that person directly before anybody else does. Don't forget about your social media profiles as well. Optimize your profiles. That way people know when they visit your profile that you are a co-host or that you're looking to help people, make posts, engage with people, and say what it is that you're looking for. If you're not intentional about creating awareness of this business, then you're probably not going to grow your co-hosting business. Lastly, check out meetups.com because you can type in the city plus real estate in your market and you can go again to networking events for other real estate investors. Bring your business cards, talk to people, get contacts, and let people know that you are a co-host and you want to be able to help them make more money from their properties.
Great.
I can solve all your problems.
Number 4, decide on terms and sign a contract. Co-hosting is like a business partnership. Once you find a client willing to hire your services, it's important that you sit down and write out all the duties and responsibilities that you've decided to shoulder and agree on. Make sure it's clear who's going to pay for utilities, cable, streaming services, and who'll be responsible in case of breakdowns and damages, claims, etc. Determine what costs you need to be reimbursed for things like gas, coffee refills, toiletries, parking fees, etc. And then note on how the refund will be processed. Also, don't forget to save receipts. Your host can't pay you back for something if you can't show proof. You and the homeowner or the primary host should have all these expectations written down on paper, including your service fee. This is known as the co-host contract. Now, when it comes to that, it'll depend entirely on what you're willing to do and what you really can do. It'll also depend on your skills, knowledge, diligence, and any other experience that you have. Typically, co-hosts charge anywhere from 10 to 25% of the gross revenue collected on the nightly rate, not including taxes. And if you're just starting out with zero experience, you'll probably have to do with 10%. And as you learn the ropes, do more tasks, master the day-to-day duties, then you can start charging 20, 25% or more. You could choose to do a minimum of a 3-month-long contract, and after that, decide to transition to month-to-month agreement, or you could do a year-long agreement also. And if you or the owner want to cancel at any time, that's fine. Just include the provision for a 30-day written notice, so that way the owner can find a replacement, and that way you can also plan out your exit strategy as well.
I love it. Where do I sign? Okay, again, you don't sign anywhere.
Number 5, find folks to help you. Whether or not your clients are experienced Airbnb hosts and have a team of service providers already, you're still going to need to have to find your own crew as backup. You'll likely need a pool of people to help you in case needs arise, and trust me, they will arise. And as you take on more listings, you'll need more cleaners, more handyman, more virtual assistants, designers, photographers, etc. So I'd recommend start sourcing from friends, neighbors, and people that you trust. Go on Yelp, Handy, look for contractors, and get different bids. You can also go on online job boards to find remote virtual assistants. Number 6, don't forget the branding. It's always good to have clearly defined goals and objectives for your business. And ultimately, these are going to be what drive you to what markets that you're attracting, what type of clients you're going to be working with, what revenue you're going to be making ultimately. Your branding and your business plan are going to lead you in the direction of your business. So it's important to determine and identify that for your company. I do have another video on YouTube where I break down how to be able to create your Airbnb business plan, so I recommend watching that one after this video. Once you have the branding and business plan, then you can find co-host clients that fit your criteria. And this is really important because when you have a name and a brand for your business, you're able to satisfy guests that tend to look for that specific type of brand. For example, if you co-host a property in another city, guests will look for the same type of experience that they got from your first property. So it's important to deliver the same quality and service with each property that you host. If that means self-check-ins, then do self-check-ins for each and every property. If that means coffee or wine as a welcome gift, make sure it's available each time. That way the experience doesn't change.
Same, but different.
So those are the 6 things that you need to do to start your co-hosting business. But like I said, if you want to start this business, then you should have an Airbnb business plan, because without this plan, then your co-hosting business will fail. So make sure to check out this video to find out how to build yours.